Welcome back. Another week of college football. Today, me and Matt are joined by Alex. Alex, you want to tell everybody who you're a fan of, what your background is?
Yeah. So my name's Alex Shaw. I'm a huge Badgers fan, Wisconsin Badgers fan. So, it's a little different coming in here with some SEC fans. But that'll be exciting. No, I'm excited to bring that outside perspective, I guess you could say. Just excited to be here with you guys.
Absolutely. We can't wait. We can't wait for the Big Ten to start back. I know
For sure.
we enjoy watching SEC games, but outside of the SEC, it's been pretty painful to watch most of the games.
I feel like even the rankings, you know what I mean? The rankings are so messed up right now, and you see all these teams that are not they're not top 25 quality in there, and it's just like it's killing me to wait, for the Big Ten to start, but soon enough.
I know it. Yeah, I will note Tennessee is still 18th in the country right now. So
Right.
Cal fall. They beat Missouri and South Carolina, the world beaters. All right, let's get right into it. We kind of picked out our games earlier in the week, which ones we wanted to do. And the Oklahoma State Baylor game was the one we identified as our bonus outside of the SEC game. That game obviously got postponed due to COVID. Baylor had a bunch of outbreaks and COVID-related cases, so they moved that game. So we decided to pick a different one. And the only other one that interested us was the Friday 9:30 game, BYU in Houston. There's not a lot that I can say about Houston. They've got one game under the books. They've looked pretty tough in their first matchup, but BYU looked really, really good most of the games they played. They're barn burning. I mean, that quarterback and those receivers are unbelievable. The running backs, I can't. Half of their team, I can't remember their names. They all kind of flow together. The last BYU player I could tell you right off the top of my head was DeLuigi, but they look amazing. I haven't gotten a lot of chances to watch them, obviously. Matt, have you seen them any this year?
I think I watched one of their earlier games, like maybe week 2, maybe possibly for them, but I don't remember much of them. I couldn't really tell you guys anything about them. I mean, I know they've been killing a lot of teams. Minus last week, they finally had their first close game. But other than that, I couldn't really tell you guys much about them.
Yeah, me and Matt are spitballing. Alex, do you have any idea of this game?
No, I mean, it's one of those things, right? Like, I feel like BYU is pretty consistent every single year, and I feel like they've been getting better over the past few years, and they'll always upset someone.
Yeah.
And Houston is just one of those teams where you just got to keep your eye on it. You know what I mean? I feel like they can come out and be consistently like a high scoring team as well. So I don't know. This one, it was hard because it's I think this one's going to be a toss up. It could go either way. So I don't know. This one's a little bit harder, but I haven't seen BYU really play a whole lot this year. But we'll see.
I only caught them in that Navy game, really, where I got a good look at them. But I think all of us realized pretty quickly that Navy should have done some tackling drills.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. And, of course, that game didn't have any fans in the stands. That one was pretty surreal. Again, we're going to spitball this one. I'm going to go with BYU. I've gotten more of a chance to see them. I know Houston always gets good talent out of the state of Texas. They're always going to be competitive. They even get some players from Louisiana. You're always looking at those 5-star, 3-star players that come up and play Houston. So I think it will be a tough matchup, but I'm going to go BYU here.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That's who I had as well. I think they're just, Houston's only played one other team right now, so it's like we don't really know how explosive their offense is, how well their defense is, and just like I said before, I think BYU is just they're consistent. If I had to go with a team on, between the two, I would probably go with BYU in this game.
Matt, you picking Houston?
No, I'm not going to pick Houston. I'm going to go with you guys and pick BYU because, like Alex said, they've always been very consistent. And you can always pretty much guarantee BYU is going to be there for at least one crazy upset during the year. I think like last year it was Utah. They upset Utah, and Utah was one of the Pac-12 favorites next to Oregon. So, yeah, they upset USC several times.
Upset Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, upset Tennessee. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that Tennessee game. Yeah. Tennessee was supposed to be back and lose Georgia
crazy.
State in that. Yeah,
yeah,
forgot about that game.
If you remember, it was like 30 seconds left on the game clock, and they had the ball at their own 17-yard line and ended up winning that game. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's move right into SEC play. You got a noon kickoff. Number 18, Tennessee versus Kentucky. Matt, you want to start us off on your voice?
Yep, this is definitely one that can, if not the Kentucky's biggest rival in the SEC. The only other one would probably be Florida, definitely in the East. But I don't know. This should definitely be a very close game, especially with there being no defense whatsoever right now in the SEC, as I'm sure everybody has noticed.
No,
Kentucky arguably had the best defensive performance last week, outside Georgia's second half shutout of Tennessee. But I don't know. It would be hard right now. It's kind of hard for me to lean towards my guys because Kentucky's only beaten Tennessee twice in my lifetime. So it's really hard. Yeah. But hopefully the defense can show up, the offense can get better, and it should be a good competitive game.
So are you going to pick Tennessee in this game?
Yeah. As of right now, I'm going to pick Tennessee in this game.
You're going 2 straight weeks against your boy.
And then, more mainly because this is down at Rocky Top. If it was up here in Lexington, it'd probably be a little bit different. But it is in Rocky Top.
Bring your cousins. I'll go ahead and give you my pick. I'm picking Kentucky. I think Kentucky's running game will overwhelm Tennessee. Tennessee's defense didn't look very impressive in any that they played this year. I do think Kentucky's defense will play a lot better than they did the first 2 games. Probably not to the level that we saw against Mississippi State last week. But I do have a lot of faith in Kentucky's defense being able to stymie Tennessee enough. It is a 5.5 point, what CBS is listing, a 5.5 point spread. So give me Kentucky for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kentucky as well on this one. I think Tennessee. I don't know what it is about Tennessee. I think each year, just like you guys were talking about, like, oh, we're back, right? We're back. We're this great football school. And I feel like every single year they're just a disappointment. And especially this year, I think I know I said this, about the other teams as well, but Kentucky, they're always known for a good upset, right? Or playing someone really, really close that's way out of their league. So I don't know. I think Kentucky shows up, and I think they shut down Tennessee. Again, when you're talking about that Tennessee was like a 5-point favorite on this one, I think Tennessee's gonna lose, and I think Kentucky will beat them. Probably my guess by I think at least 10 points. Oh, wow. I think they beat them 10 points. I'm gonna go with 10 points on this one, just because I do think Tennessee is overhyped.
Yeah. Yeah, for Tennessee, it's been one thing or another, but it is interesting to see these 2 teams. They're coming from 2 different areas. You had Tennessee was undefeated going to play Georgia and completely let down in that game, especially in the second half. And Kentucky was able to shut down Mississippi State, their Western Conference rival. So you gotta feel like Kentucky's on the upswing and Tennessee's on the downswing this week.
Yeah.
I don't think Tennessee is going to bounce back. I think Tennessee really did think that they were at the level of Georgia and Florida this year, and it's going to be ugly. Some of these games coming up. I know they play Alabama coming up. They play Auburn coming up. A&M. It could get real ugly real fast for Tennessee. All right, other noon game: Auburn versus South Carolina. And Alex, you want to start this one off for us?
Sure. So we all watched what happened last week with Auburn. I think in this case, though, I think Auburn. I think they beat South Carolina. I just think they're the better overall team, and I don't really see them having any issues with South Carolina. I don't think in this game. I just don't think South Carolina is as good as Auburn. I think the offense will do pretty well against South Carolina's defense as well. I think that'll be the mismatch there.
I'll take the next one. This is an interesting matchup because they both kind of have similar personnel offensively and defense, or offensively. They both kind of match each other really well. I know Seth Davis for Auburn is an incredible one-on-one wide receiver. Yeah. So is Shi Smith at South Carolina. Both of them look borderline or elite. I would say definitely in the top 10 receivers this season. I think it comes down to which quarterback is going to end up making the crucial error. Is it going to be both? Or are we going to see Colin Hill make the mistakes? I'm going to go Auburn. I think Auburn's defense does show up in this game and really pester South Carolina. Noon kickoff, you're not getting the bright lights for the Gamecocks. They may come in this a little bit sluggish this week after coming off of a pretty impressive 41-7 off of a 50-man Vanderbilt team. Nothing to hang your hat on. No. But yeah, I'm going Auburn. I think this one does cruise away from the 3-point spread. Some of these spreads. Matt, what do you think about this one?
I'm going to go with Auburn as well. I think Auburn is clearly the more talented team. I've had a chance to watch both these teams a couple times this year so far, and I mean, neither one of them has absolutely blown me away, but I think Auburn has the better offense, and definitely when it comes to quarterback, I think Bo Nix is better than Colin Hill, and I think Auburn's the overall better team, and Auburn's looking probably to definitely bounce back from the escape they had against Arkansas. We're definitely going to call it an escape.
Absolutely ridiculous. The SEC basically sent an apology out shortly after the game to Arkansas.
Yeah, they did. And I saw that highlight later in the night, and that was just egregious. They robbed Arkansas so bad. Oh my God, that was egregious. I feel so sorry for Arkansas fans right now.
I think they just got so excited to call the intentional ground because it's kind of one of those weird plays that never happen. A fumble on the spiking the ball. So I think they were like, aha, like I know that rule. Like if he fumbles it and spikes it, that's intentional ground. I think they just got so excited, threw the flag, blew the whistle right away, and didn't do the right thing and let the play on. Because, I mean, it felt like pretty much every player, the Auburn players and the South Carolina players, felt like it was a fumble, and they reacted to it. So I would have liked to have seen the refs, obviously, would have liked to have seen the refs call it that way. Let my boy Felipe Franks get another win, but it wasn't to be. Speaking of Felipe Franks, 3:30 on ESPN2, you got Ole Miss and Arkansas. Ole Miss opens up as a 4-point favorite in this game against Arkansas. I have no earthly idea how. I'll start this one off. There is no way in the world Arkansas is going to hold back in this game. It's going to be – I don't care what Arkansas is going to be able to do with the offense, be able to protect the ball. They won't be able to protect the ball enough and put up points enough to hang with Ole Miss. Ole Miss is looking like the second most impressive offense in the SEC, only behind Alabama. Alabama's very balanced. They got everything going for them. But I even think that Ole Miss's offense has been more efficient than Florida. I think Florida has better talent, but Ole Miss is just lights out. I mean, Matt Corral, we didn't know if we were going to see Matt Corral or John Rice Plumlee going into the season. And Matt Corral has just gone off. He's over 1,000 yards in 3 games. And his completion percentage is amazing. And he's got legs. Maybe you diet Joe Burrow coming up here. This is a guy who came out of nowhere. I mean, he was a backup. We were all calling for John Rice Plumlee to start the season. And Matt Corral comes in and is just delivering for Lane Kiffin and all that. Tough matchups. They played 2 top 5 teams in their 3-game stretch. I had a close one against Kentucky. It needed some help from Kentucky in that game to come out of Lexington with a win. But I think Ole Miss is just going to absolutely blow Arkansas out of the water offensively. I think Ole Miss isn't going to be able to stop Arkansas' attack enough to keep it below 24 points. But I do think that Ole Miss is going to start getting up to the 40s, 50s on Arkansas. Who wants the second one? Matt, you want it?
Yeah. Like you said, I love Ole Miss's offense right now. It is so fun to watch. Getting an up close personal look at it when they played Kentucky 2 weeks ago, it's just really fun to watch. These guys can score in 2 plays. I mean, my goodness, it's just like LSU. You look at some of these offenses in the SEC right now: Ole Miss, Alabama, Florida. It looks like LSU's offense from last year. They can score within 1-2 plays, and it's done.
Yeah.
And it just. Not to take anything away from Arkansas, I think they're definitely the surprise team in the SEC this year with the way they're playing. Their record may not show it, but with the way they're playing, I mean, they were competitive for a half with Georgia, and they go and upset Mississippi State, and then they should have beaten Auburn last week. So you could easily make the case they may have one more good quarter against Georgia. They could easily be 3-0. So
yeah,
ultimately, I'm going to go with Kiffin and Ole Miss and Matt Corral, because I just think the offense is better for Ole Miss. They're going to put up more points.
It's just nothing that Arkansas has seen this year. Auburn's offense hasn't looked great. Mississippi State's offense was labeled as great after the Mississippi State game, but they can't stop giving the other team the ball. So, and Georgia's offense remains to be seen. They look good. They can't label them anything. So you're picking Ole Miss.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex? What do you see in this game?
So a few things. I think Arkansas, obviously, after last week, right, they're going to be probably pretty pissed and want to come out and make a statement. However, just like you guys said, they haven't done anything, or they haven't come across a different team like this, right? Like the Auburn team. Like when you talk about Auburn's offense, it's nowhere near that, this caliber of an offense where look at the QB, right? He has 9 touchdowns already, 9 passing touchdowns, over 9 touchdowns. And like Justin said, over 1,000 yards. So it's like, if you had a hard time keeping up with Auburn, just wait with this offense. Like you said, it's like an LSU last year where, yeah, you can put points on them, but you have to stop that offense in order to win. And I don't see it happening. I agree with you guys. I think Ole Miss is gonna win.
Yeah. Next game is a 4:00 game, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
3:30, 4:00. Maybe not
4 o'clock.
happening.
May not even happening. Yeah.
You got an unranked LSU. I can't believe I just said that. Unranked LSU traveling to Gainesville to face the number 10 Florida. I will start this one off again, and I will say that this will be a boat race if it's played. This will be an offensive powerhouse. I've been trying to remind people. I don't know what happened with the Missouri game. I guess Missouri had more possession than LSU. But no one can stop LSU this year offensively, and nobody can really stop Florida offensively. That this is going to be a battle between 2 teams that, I mean, you're seeing Brennan. He's eclipsed 1,000. Trask is short 2 yards of 1,000. Florida's offensive line has shored up. They look better. but both defenses are just ugly. There's no two ways about it. I think LSU has a better Florida has a better overall talent, but I think that LSU has more playmakers on their defense. Hard to lean on this one. I do think it's going to be like it was last week for Florida and LSU. LSU got stopped at the goal line, so it's not necessarily. But I think whoever has the ball last in that game is going to end up winning. I did in the preseason when the schedule came out. I sat down with Matt and our buddy Eric, and I said, "This is a game that I think that Florida. I think LSU comes into Gainesville and beats Florida, upsets Florida, and I think that's that way because your expectations of what LSU should be after having Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson,
Right.
and all of it, your expectations of them is so low that I thought that where this game was after playing Texas A&M, getting close to playing Georgia, that they would lose sight of one of the biggest rivals they have in the SEC, LSU, and LSU will come in hungry to play. But I am going to pick Florida this year. I think Florida does get it done offensively. I think Florida comes in more pissed off about their performance against Texas A&M. And I think LSU's really willing to figure out what they can do. They have two bad losses at this point. I mean, Missouri, less than impressive. Mississippi State, we saw them after playing LSU and looked pathetic at best. And Arkansas, Kentucky. Picking Florida in this game. And it is a 14-point spread to lay away from that. Holy moly, no way.
Yeah.
I'm going with LSU on the point spread. I'll take Florida in this game. Alex, you want it?
Sure. Few things. So just like you said, right? I think they're going to play pissed off. Florida will, just because of last week. I meant to ask you that, like how you feel, with the whole Texas A&M thing. I feel like it's one of those things where sometimes, like a team like Florida, right, like where they're pretty good this year, it's nice that they lose in the beginning of the season rather than the middle or the end of the season. You know what I mean? It's that reality check to be like, okay, hey, we need to, fix this before we go any further. But I think that, LSU is just not what LSU has been for the past few years. I think they come to Florida, and I think Florida beats them, handily. Like I don't see LSU putting up. Maybe it's close for like the first quarter, but then I think Florida pulls away after that and really gives it to them. Especially the quarterback. I'm sure the quarterback is upset from last week too. He's going to want to come out and have a great game. So
yeah.
I agree. I think Florida takes this.
Yeah, I think as far as Florida goes, I think the only game that would level Florida, I mean, even if they lost to a team like Arkansas, not going to happen. But even if they lost to Arkansas, I agree with you. I think they come back. I think Georgia would be the only game where if they lost that game, Florida just deflates.
Yeah, I agree.
Losing to Georgia 4 straight years would be absolutely demoralizing for the fan base and for the players on the team. But, I agree with you. I think LSU does have some weapons that can make things interesting. Matt, what are your thoughts on this one?
Pretty much everything you guys have said so far. Florida's definitely going to come out with a vengeance this week. And not to mention Florida was just a goal line score away from winning the game last year. So, I mean, I think you guys.
Thanks for reminding me of that, Matt. I really appreciate that. Which, by the way,
I tell you, that was the one time last year Justin got so mad. I listened to him just go on and on about it for like an hour. He was so mad. Oh, my God.
Well, the number one thing that was pissing me off in that game was the holding. I mean, good Lord.
Oh, yeah.
LSU did it all season. And I get it, right? Everybody holds on every play.
But not clotheslines.
Yeah. Some of them were just egregious. they won up their performance against Florida against Auburn. I mean, did you see that game where Derek Brown was literally just taken to the ground on every play? Like they knew that they couldn't block either of the two defensive lines, so they just went for all of them. They can.
Yeah. It's like we were in the WWE or something.
Yeah.
It's just,
But go ahead, man.
slamming down.
Sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off.
No, you're good, bud. No, I think Florida's definitely going to come out and win this game. I mean, like Alex said, it'll probably be competitive for about a quarter or so, but then I think Florida pulls away ultimately.
Yeah.
So Florida just has a more talented team, way more talented team.
Yeah.
So that sounds like we're all Florida there. And then let's go to the biggest game so far in college football.
Yeah.
You got number 3 Georgia traveling into number 2 Alabama down there in Tuscaloosa. CBS 8:00 kickoff. Matt, you want to take us on this one?
Yeah. Like you said, it's definitely the biggest game of college football so far, definitely in the SEC season so far. Going to be hard to rival this game for a while, at least until, the Big Ten, the Pac-12 get back. But I'll tell you one thing.
Hold on,
this definitely going to be.
Time out. I interrupt you again. Did you say Pac-12?
Yeah, they're always high-scoring games.
You think there's going to be a game that tops this game in the Pac-12?
I don't know. We'll see.
Come on, Matt. You don't believe what you're saying. Is Oregon State versus UCLA going to top this game?
No.
Okay.
God, no.
Continue.
No. But no, Alabama and Georgia, definitely the two. What seems to be the two titans in the SEC so far. But I think this game is at Alabama. I don't know. This one's tough for me to pick. I'm leaning towards Alabama mainly because it's in Tuscaloosa. That's really the sole reason I'm leaning towards them, because Georgia's defense has been the best defense this entire year so far. But I'm gonna lean towards Bama barely. That's the only reason why. Just because it's in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. Alex, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so a few things. This one, just like you said, this one's tough. I don't know. It's really tough to pick, and I've been going back and forth on this. I think from what we know right now, and how we've seen them play and who they've played, I think Georgia has been tested more. I feel like they've played the quality of teams has just been better there. But however, I'm leading on the other side where I look at Alabama, right? Like their running back. He's touched the ball 52 times, 347 yards, and 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's hard, and then you have, I think, let's see, Georgia's quarterback has thrown for 689 yards, where Alabama's thrown for over 1,000 at this point too. So, but. Yeah. Again, I feel like that comes with the teams that Alabama's played so far compared to Georgia. This one, I'm going to go with Georgia. I think Georgia goes down there, and I think they establish dominance in the SEC this weekend. And I think that, Alabama's time is it's fading. You know what I mean? It's fading as a powerhouse. I don't see them continuing on much longer. I think Georgia will go down there, and I think it'll be close, but I think Georgia beats them.
Asserting the dominance of SEC. I'm gonna hold off on that one.
I knew you wouldn't like that, but I'm
gonna wait for November 7th. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if we have a defense or not, baby. I'm gonna wait for November 7th before we start talking about it. This game's extremely interesting. Don't need to go into all the details. You got wide receivers galore on both sides of the field. You have running backs you got a manageable running back at Georgia. You got a great running back at Alabama. You got a great quarterback at Alabama. You got a subpar, game manager at Georgia. But I'm going to go with Alex on this one. I think Georgia's defense absolutely stymies Alabama. If you look at who Alabama has played this year, yeah, they've played better offenses than Georgia. They played Ole Miss last week. They played Texas A&M. They have not played a defense anywhere comparable. I mean, we saw what Florida was able to do to both A&M and Ole Miss. Their defense is absolutely non-existent. Alabama's other game was Missouri, right? They let LSU go all over the field. No problem. Tennessee even went all over the field on them. So Alabama has not played a defense that's even considered relevant. Georgia's defense is the best defense in the country. And I think they shock people with how good they're going to look in this game. I'm going Georgia. And if the point spread was 5 on the Georgia side, I'd go over that. I think Georgia is going to come out there and really shock the country and really turn around that narrative of, all last week, what did we hear? Lane Kiffin versus Nick Saban. No disciple has beat Nick Saban. I think Kirby gets it done. I think Kirby's going to be the first one to beat Nick Saban, and he's going to do it right down in T-Town this weekend. All right, I think that's it for our picks. So just kind of quickly go through them again. I just want to just really for my sake. The first game, we all went BYU, right?
Right.
Okay, and then we all took Kentucky. Me and Alex took Kentucky. Matt took Tennessee. We all took Auburn.
Yeah.
We all took Ole Miss. And we all took Texas A&M, right?
Yeah.
Did we get the Texas A&M game? Did I skip
Yeah,
that?
I don't think
that one.
I think you skipped that one.
Well, I think you guys know I'm picking Texas A&M this week. I'll let the rest of you two hash out what you think about Bigfoot and Jimbo Gumbo.
No. Texas A&M is going to win this game. I'm not worried about that.
To say about this one.
No.
Yeah.
Castillo and that offense, they're so turnover prone. I mean, I will throw this stat out there. I think I've said it every single time Missouri has played. Mississippi State is up to 14 turnovers. I think they turned the ball over just a minute ago. I'll have to go see for sure. And as far as turnover on downs, they have 6 already. Mississippi State cannot sustain drives. They can't get out of their own way. They're still putting up yards. I mean, they're not completely disappearing with the turnovers. They don't get the possession. Alex, you got anything to add to that one? Or you just go on A&M for sure?
Yeah, I think Texas A&M. I think they're just a better team. You know what I mean? And for your sake, you just got to hope they keep winning. You know what I mean? To make that Florida loss look even better.
Yeah.
But I do think Texas A&M though. I think they're the better team.
Yeah, I think the door is now open for A&M. I know they lost to Alabama in the SEC West race is probably out for them. We don't know for sure. If Georgia goes down and beats Alabama, and if Alabama gets upset by Auburn, Arkansas,
Yeah.
or LSU even gets them. We could be talking about A&M being back in the picture, but I don't think that's what it's about. I think it's establishing that Texas A&M is here to play in the SEC. Even with the Johnny Manziel years, you had excitement, but they never won the SEC West. They never really beat a lot of top. Their sole big win under Johnny Manziel was that road win against Alabama.
Yeah.
So they finally got that number 2 win in the SEC. 8 years into it. I think they try to hold on to this. And the landscape in the SEC, it's looking a little bit more manageable than it has in a little while. They need to go out there and capitalize on each individual opportunity they have. So why not go out there and dominate Mississippi State? Mississippi State is reeling. I mean, they're desperate for a win, sure. But, I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done this week against A&M. A&M's just too talented. They've consistently been in the top 10 recruiting year in, year out. There's no way that they're going to sit there and let that letdown game after finally getting that top 5 win. We all picked Florida, right? Nobody picked LSU.
No.
If they play.
If they play, yeah. We all picked Florida.
And Matt took Alabama. We took Georgia on that one.
Yep.
All right. Well, that should do it for this one. Again, I'm in the lead, Matt. Matt, you're slightly
Friendly
ahead of
reminder.
Alex right now, just slightly. If Alex was had the same amount of picks, I would say maybe you would be third place.
Uh-huh.
But we all know I'd be in first place.
Uh-huh.
Flipping coins on Siri to figure out who's going to win the game or not. It works. You guys don't know. All right. Well, appreciate Alex for coming on. Alex, would you like to come back and do the recap video?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Cool. So, Matt, you got anything to add? Finish this off?
Nope, just ready for another exciting week of SEC football.
Yeah. I
Gonna
just
be
want to
awesome.
say that I feel really bad for Missouri and Vanderbilt for not playing this
Yeah.
weekend. And
You too.
I also want to thank them so much because then I don't have to see highlights of the Missouri versus Vanderbilt football game. All right. You guys take care.